I'm Jerry. I work at Ascent Outdoors and I'm one of the boot fitters here. Today I want to talk to you about Alpine ski boots, specifically different types of Alpine ski boots, and how to choose the boot that's right for you. So let's start with the basics. With Alpine ski boots, they come in basically two types, downhill ski boots or Alpine touring or backcountry boots, also referred to as AT boots. If you're skiing solely at a ski area and you want good downhill performance, in other words, you're riding the lifts up, skiing down the groomed runs or some of the off-piste stuff a little bit, but you're riding the chairlift up, then you want to really be looking at a downhill boot. What distinguishes a downhill boot from an Alpine touring boot is they're generally stiffer, providing better edge hold on firmer snow conditions. They tend to be a little heavier as well, which doesn't really hurt things because you're riding the lift up. But the primary difference is an Alpine touring boot has a releasable cuff. As you can see here, once you pull this up, this whole cuff is released, so you can move your foot or your ankle and your lower leg in a more or less normal walking position, which allows you to ski uphill. And that's what differentiates an Alpine touring boot. The other thing is that they have these tech fittings, these little pinholes here, which interface with a standard backcountry Alpine touring binding. So if your objective now, instead of the downhill area, but maybe you do want to ski downhill, but you also want to ski the backcountry where you're climbing uphill, then you want to look at an Alpine touring boot like this. And within this category of boot, there are really three different subcategories, from performance Alpine touring boots to all-round Alpine touring boots, and then lightweight Alpine touring boots, similar to a boot like this. How to choose which of these boots? Well, if you want the same or very close to the same performance of a downhill boot, so you're maximizing your downhill performance when you're in the backcountry, then you want to look at one of the performance categories of the Alpine touring boots. These boots are stiffer than the all-round Alpine touring boots. Sometimes they're also a little heavier. Again, gives you that more similar feel to a downhill boot, good downhill performance. You still have the ability to ski uphill, but they're not quite as efficient as the all-round Alpine touring boots. A little bit softer flexing boot really distinguishes the Alpine touring boots in the all-round category, like this one here. Looks similar, still has the same walk mechanism, but you tend to get a little bit more range of motion in the upper cuff here and a little bit lighter weight. So this makes the uphill experience more efficient. Still skis down with maybe not quite the same performance as the performance category, but still reasonably stiff. Also may be appropriate for someone who's a little lighter weight, someone who wants a little more of a soft snow focused ski boot. That's a great reason to buy this type of boot. It's obviously the biggest category of Alpine touring boots sold is the all-round category. The other category is the ultralight category, which I pointed out earlier. These boots really rival the performance you get in an Alpine climbing boot. They're great for people doing long tours that want maximum uphill efficiency. Maybe you're doing multi-day tours. Maybe you're doing some spring touring. Maybe you're going to put a crampon on this and do a technical Alpine climb. You can do it with this boot. You can certainly ski down with it too, but you're not going to have the same level of performance in the performance level boot or obviously the all-round boot, because it's just a much more flexible cuff, much softer. You're not going to be able to drive every type of ski in all conditions. You're going to want to match this to a little bit lighter weight ski and think about the conditions you're skiing in. So those are some of the basics. I hope this gives you a start on choosing the right boot. Remember, in all these Alpine touring boots, you certainly can ski in the lift areas, skiing on the groomers. They all work reasonably well, maybe with the exception of the ultralight boot, which is going to be a little more challenging if you're at a ski area. Well, I hope that gives you some information to get started on choosing the right Alpine boot, and hope you have a good winter this year.